So I haven't really extensively covered, to use that word right, covered the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case. I've done a few videos on it, but nothing in detail. And on the few videos that I did do, I have recently gotten some DMs, some questions about what is the actual timeline of events. There's a lot of people that are just coming across this case right now that want a more of an update as to what is going on. So I decided to go over the timeline of events for all those people, and we're going to start here right now. Now, the main article I'm using to go over this timeline is from ctvnews.ca, and I will link it in the description below so you can go have a read for yourself. But here is the basic timeline, and if I'm missing anything or I leave something out, please drop a comment below so the people reading this will know exactly all of the information that they want to know. So this starts out in June of 2021. Brian Laundrie embarks on a cross-country trip with his fiancée, Gabby Petito. It states Laundrie and Petito planned a cross-country trip to travel to the West Coast in Petito's white Ford van. Now we skip from June 2021 to August 2021. Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito encounter the Utah police. Now, you can Google this. They released the full body cam footage of this stop. Go check it out. If you give it a Google, it'll come up just about everywhere, and you can view that as well. But it states things took a turn in August in Utah when police encountered the couple engaged in some sort of altercation. The two were described as getting into a physical fight following an argument. A report from Officer Eric Pratt said there were reports and 911 calls and witnesses describing a man, Brian Laundrie, allegedly hitting a woman, of course his fiancée, Gabby Petito. Part of that body cam footage did state that Gabby Petito telling the officer that while Laundrie had hit her, that she did hit him first. The officers at that time suggested to them that they separate for the night. Officer Daniel Robbins was quoted as saying, "After evaluating the totality of the circumstances, I do not believe the situation escalated to the level of a domestic assault as much as that of a mental health crisis, and no charges were filed." Now we go ahead to August 17th to the 23rd. Brian Laundrie flies from Utah to Florida and back. Brian Laundrie flew to Tampa, Florida from Salt Lake City and rejoined Gabby Petito 6 days later, according to the Laundrie family attorney. So he left his girlfriend, his fiancée, in Salt Lake City, Utah, by herself, and then flew back home to Florida, and then back to Utah. What was Gabby doing during this time? I've got questions. Everybody's got questions. The family attorney stated that Brian Laundrie flew home to obtain some items and empty and close the storage unit to save money as they contemplated extending the trip. Why wouldn't she go with you? Maybe she just wanted to chill in Salt Lake City by herself for a while. I mean, they did just get into a big fight. I'm just trying to see everything from both sides. What was he thinking? What was she thinking? What made this happen? But it's strange that he would leave, empty the storage unit, and then close it to save money. How much does the storage unit cost in Florida? They're not that expensive where I live, but maybe it was a giant storage container and they were going to save hundreds of dollars. I don't know. It just seems like an odd thing to do while you're on a cross-country trip with your fiancé. Just strange. There's such a lot of strange things in this case. Then we skip ahead to August 27th. Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito are seen at a Wyoming restaurant. So he did indeed. She's still alive at this point. August 27th, they're seen at a restaurant together. Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie were seen again in Jackson, Wyoming, where a couple said that they saw Petito and Laundrie involved in a commotion as they were leaving the restaurant. So again, it sounds like they're still not getting along. They are arguing again. He left, he came back, they're still fighting. By late August, Gabby Petito's regular posts to social media had stopped. September 1st, Brian Laundrie returns to Florida, driving Gabby Petito's van. So driving his fiance's van. He returned to the home that he and Gabby Petito shared with his parents in Northport, Florida, and Gabby Petito was not with him. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. He comes back with his fiance's van, without his fiance. He was just there not too long ago by himself closing out a storage unit. So, what does he tell his parents when he gets home? She let me take the van. She's staying. She wants to go across. She wants to continue the trip by herself for a little while. We had a fight. She'll be coming home again shortly. Like, that's the type of thing that you think that he would say that could be believable. That, oh, we had a fight. She'll be back soon. But what do you tell her parents? What do you tell her family? You can't tell her the same thing because she would have obviously contacted them, right? Saying that Brian came home, I'm staying here, he's back there, don't worry about me. Something along those lines. Anything. Or what does he say? He calls her parents and says, yeah, we had a fight. She's staying there. She's fine. At this point in time, they probably have no reason not to believe anything he is telling them. So she gives him the van. In theory, she gives him the van. He comes home and he just says, we had a fight. She's staying there. I'm going to go back and get her, or she's going to fly home on her own. Something like that, right? That's your believable story. I still could never imagine buying something like that. I mean, I don't know the relationship. Their family would know the relationship much more. So maybe this wasn't a different thing. Maybe it wasn't strange that they separated and she was going to continue this trip on her own. Who knows? It seems strange to me, though. So, September 6th to September 8th, the Laundrie family goes camping. Again, his fiance at this point in time is still missing. So the 6th to the 8th, he returned home on September 1st. So this is 5 to 7 days later, they go camping without his fiance. She's still theoretically on this trip by herself. She's not been reported missing. Her body has not been found yet. Nothing. The Laundrie family goes camping about 75 miles away from their home. Brian Laundrie's mother was checked in at a waterfront site at the Fort DeSoto campground from September 6th through September 8th, according to the County Parks Campground check-in report provided to CNN. The Laundries were at the campground from September 6th to September 7th and left together. That's what the family attorney told CNN. That was September 6th to September 8th. September 11th, 2021, Gabby Petito is finally reported missing. Petito's family reported her missing on September 11th, weeks after calls to her mother and frequent social media posts had stopped. See, that was my point. Who believes this dude saying that she's fine, she's on her own, when her family's probably trying to call her, probably trying to get in touch with her? Sure, she's probably out of service at some point in times on these trips in the middle of the woods, in the middle of these national parks. There's probably not a lot of great cell service, but she obviously had time and found places to post stuff, and her family probably followed that and thought it, then when it stopped, thought it was very strange. I get that. I totally get it. So after weeks of calls to her mother and frequent social media posts had stopped, the events after this are when things become a little bit more confusing. September 13th or 14th, Brian Laundrie disappears. So 2 to 3 days after Gabby Petito is reported missing, Brian Laundrie is gone, disappears. At this point, Gabby Petito's body has not been found, and police were publicly asking Brian Laundrie and his parents to talk to them about what they knew. Brian Laundrie had invoked his Fifth Amendment right, meaning he chose not to speak to authorities, chose not to speak to officers or police. You would think you would be doing anything possible to find your fiance, to help anybody find your fiance. If you were innocent of, they didn't even find her body yet, but if you were innocent and had nothing to do with it, you would be doing anything and everything to find your fiance. That proves right there to me that he is 100% guilty. Why would you invoke the Fifth Amendment when trying to find your fiance? That is ridiculous. Then initially, Brian Laundrie's parents told Northport police they hadn't seen their son since September 14th, but they didn't contact authorities about it for 3 days. A lot of people think that allegedly his parents are helping him wherever he might be. Brian Laundrie's parents told police that Brian left home with his backpack, and his source close to the Laundrie family told CNN that Laundrie left their home without his cell phone and wallet. Brian Laundrie's parents also told police he was going to the nearby Carlton Reserve, a 25,000-acre nature reserve near the family's home, featuring waist-high water, snakes, and alligators. Maybe one of those got him. The September 14th disappearance was what local and federal authorities were following for more than 3 weeks while they searched for Brian Laundrie. I mean, if this place has waist-high water, has big old snakes, has alligators, maybe one of the alligators got him, and you're never going to find him if he was eaten by an alligator. But maybe he didn't go in the waist-high water. Brian Laundrie's family then said in October that he left their home September 13th, which was a day earlier than previously reported. The family's lawyer told CNN that Brian Laundrie's father, Chris, went to look for Brian on the night of September 13th after his son didn't return from the park. The next day, September 14th, both Brian's parents returned to the area to look for him and found their Ford Mustang was abandoned with a vehicle notice placed on it. The family lawyer stated the Northport Police Department confirmed that the citation had been placed on the car. The parents returned the next day, September 15th, to retrieve the vehicle. September 19th, Gabby Petito's remains were found in Wyoming. Now, this made it even more clear of why Brian Laundrie was fleeing. Clearly, he was guilty and had something to do, allegedly, had something to do with the death of his fiancée. Gabby Petito's remains were found in a Wyoming national forest. 2 days later, on September 21st, the remains were confirmed to be Gabby Petito. September 23rd, there was a federal indictment issued for Brian Laundrie. The FBI announced that September 23rd that the U.S. District Court of Wyoming issued a federal arrest warrant for Brian Laundrie. That's the last update from CTV. They have been searching for Brian Laundrie high and low all over Florida since Dog the Bounty Hunter joined the case somewhere around September 27th, September 28th, and he's been looking for Brian Laundrie since in various places in Florida. He recently, yesterday I guess, had to stop his search for Brian Laundrie due to an ankle injury, but he still has a team in Florida. But that's the timeline of events. Now, I said this earlier in a previous video, I said it somewhere. I don't know why they're just looking in Florida. Maybe it's because they believe he's getting help from somebody locally, so he wouldn't leave the area. But why wouldn't he flee? Maybe he got into Mexico. Maybe he got into Canada. Just because he's a high-profiled, searched-after suspect does not mean he couldn't have snuck into Mexico, snuck into Canada. I mean, his best bet would probably be to sneak into Mexico, and then he can just keep going south. But or any other state in the United States. He doesn't even need ID to go from state to state to state to state. He could be anywhere in America. But, I mean, they must have their reasons of why they're just looking in specific areas of Florida, around the family home, in these parks, in these swamps. Could be anywhere. If he was in these swamps and a gator got him, they're never going to find him. I sure hope they do find him and that Gabby gets the justice she deserves. But that's the timeline of events up until right now. Today is October 11th. And there has been no real new news on Brian Laundrie's location from that day till now. They still believe he's in Florida, but realistically, he could be anywhere. Let me know what you think. Where do you think Brian Laundrie is? What do you think of the case up until this point? It's just so sad for Gabby Petito, Gabby Petito's family. Hopefully they find him and they get the justice she deserves, the family deserves. So sad. But let me know what you think. Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you again soon.